So I'm going to cover the process of selling your business and what it looks like from a business broker selling your business or an investment banker who's going to help you sell your business, just so you understand what the different phases look like and the process of what goes into selling your business. Now, just like anything else, if you are getting ready to sell your business, whether it's in now, 3 months, 6 months, a year, 3 years, you are going to start having conversations with different business brokers and different investment bankers. And I'm sure you're trying to feel them out. What does their process look like, which I'm going to tell you here because everyone's process is pretty similar. What their fees are, maybe their timeline and their experience. And do you connect with this individual? That's a big aspect that I think a lot of business owners overlook is, do you get along with this individual? Maybe not getting along, you want them to get their job done, but you want to make sure that they're actually acting in your best interest because, again, at the end of the day, this is a commission-based profession, and brokers and bankers don't get paid until the deal is closed, and so they're incentivized to close a deal, and you just want to make sure that they're fighting for what you are wanting to have in this purchase agreement, in the sale of your business. So just like anything, when money comes involved, there are some bad apples out there. There's a lot of personalities and egos out there, so you ultimately want to trust your gut, trust your intuition when you're talking to these individuals. But you're getting ready to sell your business. First thing you're going to do is start having calls with different investment bankers, different business brokers to get a sense of what this is going to look like, right? And those initial conversations are very important. And just so you are aware, the process of selling a business, the steps that you take, everyone's going to have the same process. So nobody is going to have a process that's going to stand out above any other business broker or about any other investment banker. It's just who does it better, who streamlines it better, who has a better buyer pool, who can speed the process up, right? And a lot of that's dependent on the business that you own as well. But as far as the process, the steps that you have to take to sell your business, everyone's going to follow the same sort of process, right? And I've got my notes here because I want to make sure I don't miss anything. But a few things with these initial conversations, you want to avoid working with anybody who's going to tell you that they can get you exactly what you want to get in the business, right? And what I mean by that is if you're on the phone with a potential business broker that you want to engage with or an investment banker that you want to engage with, and you tell them you want to sell for $12 million and they say, yeah, no problem, we can for sure get you those offers, we'll probably bring in several offers around 12 million to whatever. That's a red flag because, one, I'm going to assume that you haven't provided them any information really on your business outside of, hey, here's what we do in revenue, here's what our margins are. But a valuation being performed on a business needs certain documents, needs financial documents, needs profit and loss statements, tax returns, balance sheets. So it's hard to pin an exact number without that information. And so they're just telling you what they want to hear. And not you can pick up on that and get by that, but the reason why it's an issue is because it sets expectations incorrectly. And the last thing you want to do is engage with a broker or an investment banker for a 12-month contract, and they list your business at $12 million when really maybe it's worth around 9.5 or 10, right? Well, people are going to bypass that, and you're going to waste so much time having conversations with buyers, and you'll get into negotiations and the nitpicking will start and the price will drop, and then you'll just be frustrated, and it's a waste of time for everybody, right? So you want to avoid the individuals who are going to tell you that they can achieve everything for you. And maybe that is a possibility because I have represented clients where their business was absolute gold and it was a home run listing for anybody who would want to sell that business, right? So obviously that is the case and that can happen, but you just want to avoid the yes we can do it, no problem, because what some brokers and bankers unfortunately will do is they'll just try and get you to sign that contract, secure you to an exclusive 12-month listing, meaning only they can sell the business, and they'll promise you $12 million, and then they'll try and force you into a sale around $9 million, $10 million, right? So you just want to avoid all of the unnecessary headaches and the unnecessary time in the meetings with potential buyers. And the way you go about doing that is getting a valuation on your business. So this is kind of what I was talking about with you can't know what a business is going to sell for without the financial documents. And the valuation will happen after you engage with a business broker or an investment banker. But one thing you can do that you might want to do is you can actually go get a valuation on your business yourself. You can have a third party do this, and it'll cost you a few $1,000s, $3,000 up to 10, 15, 20. It really depends on the size and the complexity of your business, but a few $1,000s, and you can go get your own valuation performed. And this is a really good idea. A lot of brokers and bankers will run valuations for you, but if you're going to buy your own, I think it's a good idea because, one, it sets your own price expectations, right? And that way you can go to a broker or an investment banker and say, I've already had it performed, here's the number. And it's always good to have very realistic expectations instead of being sold on that $12 million price. And like I said, you go to the market or the buyers start coming in and they're all around the $9 or $10 million mark, right? So that's just going to frustrate you. The broker's still going to try and get a deal done and reason with you on why you should take this because it's the best offer you're going to get. And then you're going to say, well, why didn't we just start at 9 or 10 million in the first place? Why did you tell me you can get it for 12 and you never did? And now they're trying to force a deal. No one's happy. Everyone's wasted time, right? So you can go out and get a third-party valuation. You can do this while you're having your calls with brokers. You don't have to do that because brokers and bankers will run it for you. They'll also charge you for it for the most part. But the best thing that will do is set price expectations for yourself. And I think that goes a very, very long way because unrealistic price expectations, although not a lot of people want to hear it, are a major, major, major reason why a lot of businesses never actually sell, right? They stay on market. They keep waiting for that next offer to come in, that next offer to come in. And the longer your business sits on market, the more concerning it gets for everybody. And all of a sudden those offers are getting less and less and less, and you might get fed up and sell for hundreds of thousands of dollars less or millions of dollars less than what you actually could have gotten, right? The first few offers are usually going to be your best and your strongest offers that you get in the business. So setting that price expectation and then to finalize and to finish up on this initial phone call phase, find out the broker's experience, the investment banker's experience, how long have they been doing this for, what are some previous transactions that they've been part of that they closed, what is their buyer pool, and then their timeline for closing deals, right? Now, you will quickly find out that there are different tiers to business brokers and investment bankers. There are business brokers that will close a deal or two a year, and then there are business brokers that will be closing deals constantly, right? And these are the individuals that have a ton of experience and they've got a big buyer pool, right? Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the other brokers, but you will quickly find out who's got the deal flow, who has the buyer relationships, and who can move the process the quickest. And if that's your goal, then I would encourage you to try and find brokers like that because these individuals will have a large buyer pool. They'll have a large database of people that they can float your business to before listing it. Now, that's an advantage as well. If there's a business broker or an investment banker that has a large buyer pool, they may just keep it off market, right? Which means your competitors might not see it, employees might not see it. Now, your name of your business will never be listed, the address will never be listed, and so it will still stay discreet. However, if you just want to completely remove any of those possibilities, a good broker or a good banker will just go directly to buyers for your industry, your size of deal, your size of business, I should say, and just bring buyers from their own network right to the table and start the conversations that way. So that's something that I would definitely ask is, who are your buyers? Do you list my business? It's not a deal breaker if they do list it, but it just goes to show if someone's not going to list your business and they bring buyers right to you, well, they clearly have a large and a deep pool of buyers, whether they're strategic buyers or financial buyers. That's what I would look for if I was a business owner looking to sell. And then lastly, the timeline. I would just ask them, how long does it take you to typically sell businesses? Now, a lot of this is going to be dependent on your business and the condition, I should say, that it's in. And I've got previous videos on covering what makes up a valuable business to sell and how that can speed up the process. There's several things that you can get in place before you are ready to sell. I can put a link to one of those videos in this description so you can see how you can do proper exit planning. And that just speeds up the entire process of selling a business. But ask them their timeline. How long does it usually take you to sell a business? You'll probably hear anywhere from 6 months to 12 months, right? So that's the initial conversation when you are looking for a business broker. You're looking for a business or an investment banker to represent you in selling your business. You're typically going to see contracts, engagement contracts that they'll send you around 6 months to 12 months. I'm sure they're always going to try and send you the 12-month exclusive listing contract. And so that's pretty normal, just so you're aware if that comes across your desk from them. And then once you decide to engage with a broker or a banker, you'll move into the next phase. And the next phase is going to be getting an evaluation or a price for your business, and then putting together marketing materials, or otherwise they're called as a CIM, a confidential information memorandum on your business. So let's start with the valuation aspect of it. If you didn't get a third-party valuation, they will run one for you. They should sit down with you after they performed that. And to back up a little bit, once you sign that listing agreement or the engagement agreement, right, to perform this valuation, they are going to need documents from you, and they are going to need 3 years of profit and loss statements, 3 years of tax returns, 3 years of balance sheets, right, and any list of assets, whether there's machines within the business or the real estate if you're looking to sell the real estate as well. So they will need those items from you in order to perform the valuation. They will run their models, they'll spread their spreadsheets. For the most part, they're going to be running a multiple of earnings and MOE valuation on your business, and then they'll come back to you, sit down, go over the numbers, and say, here's the low side. If you just want 100% out, wipe your hands, 100% cash at close. Here's the low side. Here's maybe the expected price that they think you will get. Maybe a little structure involved, and what I mean by structure is maybe a little bit of a seller note in there. And then here's the high side. We can try listing for the high side. We anticipate some structure to be involved, maybe more seller notes or other sort of structuring or terms within the deal, but we can certainly try any level of these asking prices. So it's up to you to kind of decide how you want to list it. If you want to go for the high side and you're okay with some structuring, meaning offering some seller financing or maybe a transition time, maybe you agree to stay on board for 12 months. So that's up to you and what you want to do, but they should give you a clear tiered bracket of where you can expect to sell this business and what comes with that price of selling at that particular price of business. So the valuation gets done. They sit down with you to go over the valuation of the business. Once you're satisfied with one of the numbers to go to market with, they'll also create a marketing packet for you. Now, this is the time where I really encourage sellers to, slow it down, take your time, fill it all out, because your broker is going to put together a large packet that's going to cover almost everything on your business, right? While keeping it still somewhat confidential, even though anyone who looks at this packet will have signed an NDA already. But you still want to keep some information hidden until maybe the due diligence period when it gets even more serious, like customer names, vendor names, things like that. So sometimes they'll just list them as customer 1 through 10. But this CIM packet is going to act as a buffer between you and all the buyers, right? You don't want, if 100 people are going to inquire on your business, you don't have the time to answer questions from 100 different people. That's what this packet's going to do, and that's what your broker or your banker will do. They will really be the gatekeepers from anyone getting to you to have to ask unnecessary questions or repetitive questions. So you want to be very thorough when answering the questions for your broker who's putting this together. You want to provide as much information and documentation as you can for your broker so they can spend the time to put this packet together. This packet could be anywhere from 10 to 40 to 50 to 70 pages long, and it's going to highlight, your financials, your employees, your organizational chart, a SWOT analysis, strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats, pro formas, competitors, the market condition. Everything is going to be in this packet, where buyers can review this packet, and then from that packet they can determine if they want to draft up a letter of intent, have maybe a meeting with you, the sellers of the business, and then draft up a letter of intent from there. But this is a very heavy informational packet on your business, shining the light on your business with full transparency. Here's what's going on, here's some opportunities, here's maybe some threats or some weaknesses in the business. But you want to be very thorough and provide as much information at this phase. It's only going to help you on the back end of the sale process, where you don't have to then provide all of this information again. So get it all out up front. Let your broker do all the heavy lifting from there as far as putting it together and answering all these questions and being a buffer for all of the buyers who are looking at your business before they get to you, right? So that's the valuation and the CIM. That will be done in the first half of this sale process after you've signed an engagement agreement with this broker. And once all of that's completed, that's when the listing part begins, whether they are going to list your business on a listing platform or they're going to start calling their buyer pool, whether it's private equity, family offices, individual entrepreneurs, some search funds, right? It's when they start to draw up interest for your business. All these people will start signing NDAs. Once they sign NDAs, they will be given that SIM packet, right? And from there, it's just a lot of emails and phone calls and questions from all these different buyers. And your broker or investment banker is going to be vetting all of these people, qualifying all of these people, having them fill out personal financial statements. Something that I do that's a little bit different than what a lot of people do is I give the option to someone like yourself, the business owner, if they want to approve all of the buyers who get a look at the SIM packet, because in some instances, business owners don't even want their competitors, whether they know it or not, that they're looking at their business to even get a chance to look at it, because then they'll know, even though they're under an NDA, that you're selling your business. And it can just be a sensitive situation. And so I've had instances where I've asked the business owner, do you want to be the one who approves every buyer who comes in? Right now, you have to be aware that there's going to be, if you have a good listing, a good business, you're going to get hundreds of people inquiring on your business. And so you're going to have to go in there and approve 100 people. Some people like that. Some people say, nope, it's totally fine. Bring me some buyers, bring me the highest offer, and let's rock and roll. So that is something that I do different that I haven't really seen a lot of people do. So throughout this whole process, this is going to be a crazy time for your broker and your investment banker. Constant phone calls, constant questions. The goal is to funnel all of the good buyers through this questioning phase and this vetting process phase to a position where they then want to have a call with you, the introduction call, right? And the goal is to have a good amount of calls, but not overwhelm you with too many calls. So we want to really weed out these tire kickers, people who aren't qualified, people who we don't think their timeline lines up with yours. So that's our job to do that. So by the time you have a Zoom call or an in-person meeting with these buyers, these are the real serious buyers who are going to be making offers on your business. Granted that nothing happens within that phone call between the two of you, right? So then after you have all of those calls with these buyers, good handful of qualified, motivated buyers, they will then start submitting offers, letters of intent, LOIs. And the goal is to get a handful of good LOIs for you. So they'll send them over to someone like myself, the broker. I will take a look at them and then bring them to you so you can have then several LOIs to review and look at as far as pricing, as far as any sort of structure that's involved, like I was talking about earlier, if they're asking for some sort of seller note in there, timeline on the rest of the sale process, like due diligence, and then any other terms within that contract, such as transition time or training. So we'll review all of that, and from there you pick the offer that you like, you sign the LOI. Once an LOI is executed, that's when the due diligence process starts. If you've ever heard of due diligence before, this is a very stressful time for really everybody involved, but most importantly, you, the business owner, because you're probably running the business, you're working all day, and now you have to field questions and answer questions and provide all those documents for the buyer. But this really is the time for you to open up the business for any and all questioning, any and all type of requests for certain documents. It is a lot, and you should know that going into it. It is a lot, but this is where it's just all hands on deck. You roll up your sleeves, you get the buyer everything they need so they can put a stamp of approval on their decision. And so you really want to get them the information as quickly as you can, allow them to review it all so they can verify. And once they are satisfied with due diligence, they'll start the purchase agreement and their financing, however they're going to fund this deal. But just real quick before I get into the closing part of it, due diligence can last anywhere from 15 days, but usually you're going to see a minimum of 30 days up to 60 days, sometimes 90 days, just depends on the size of your business. But I would say 30 to 60 days is a realistic, most common timeline for the due diligence process. And it's a heavy-duty month or 2 months that you'll have to go through, and providing all this information. You'll probably have another call with them, answering some questions over email from your broker. So it's a lot of back and forth, but this is where a good broker comes into play. This is where a good SIM packet comes into play to reduce a lot of that back and forth for someone like yourself. Once due diligence is starting to wrap up, the buyers will start putting together a purchase agreement, and then they'll be working on their financing, like I said, how they're going to fund this deal and how they're going to pay you, right? 90% of the time, it's the buyer's responsibility to produce the contracts in a deal. in a sale of a business. So they're going to be drafting the purchase agreement. This is a good time for you to have your attorney come in here and review the purchase agreement, make sure you're protected, you sign off on everything. You can expect some back and forth meetings between your broker, your attorney, the buyer's attorney. A lot of conversations, a lot of meetings throughout this time of the sale process. Just make sure that everyone's got a level head. There's a lot of personalities that come into play at this time. Attorneys are coming into play at this time. The phrase attorneys kill deals, time kills deals. Nothing against attorneys. We need them. They're very necessary. But their job is to protect you, and you just have to be aware of that, and you might have to make the decision here to bend on some line items in the contract if you're comfortable with it in order to get a deal done, right? I have had several clients that had to step in and say, hey, Mr. Attorney, I appreciate it. I'm okay with this line item in this section in our contract. Let's fix it. Let's get it redlined and finished and move on to the next phase, right? And if you're not, that's why your attorney's there. They pointed it out, and now you can take a step back, and we'll have to figure out a new way to structure this thing where all parties are happy and satisfied. Once that gets wrapped up, hopefully the buyer has their financing in order by the time the purchase agreement is getting wrapped up, and that's when closing happens. Whether you want to do it in person or over a meeting, or just have your broker handle all the behind the scenes, checking the boxes and final touches, and then you will get your wire at close, and everybody's happy. We got a done deal. So that's what the process looks like, kind of from a broker's perspective, or at least how a broker or an investment banker is going to handle the process and what you can expect throughout it. If you have any questions on this process, feel free to leave them below in the comment section, and I'll be happy to answer them. This is what I do. I'm a business broker. I'm the founder of Kelleher Acquisitions here in Austin, Texas. We are nationwide. So if you'd like to hear more information on how to sell businesses, buy businesses, just the whole industry, feel free to give this page a follow and ask any questions you have in the comments. I'll be happy to answer them. But thank you for watching.